This is the virtual presentation for the Third Asian Conference on Cultural Studies, presented by Veronica Newton on behalf of Dr. Matsuo, Eva Wang, and Dr. Chavez. Confidence in English speaking abilities in ESL and EAP classes. So in 2011, the U.S. saw a 5% rise in total number of international students, which was the fifth year in a row to increase. According to the annual Open Arms report filed by the Institute of International Education, there are approximately 723,227 international students living in the U.S. There was a 45% increase in the number of international students that come from the top three sending countries, China, India, and South Korea. In the 2010-2011 academic year, there were 157,558 international students that listed China as their country of origin. Previous research has supported that Chinese students are the largest population of international students. Research suggests that the amount of cultural distance between the native and host society is positively correlated with the degree of acculturative stress experienced by international students. Chinese international students have been identified as a group with a higher risk of experiencing symptoms of mental health attrition during their social and academic adjustment in the U.S. Other evidence suggests that students from collectivist societies are more likely to report lower life satisfaction and poor psychological well-being than students who value individualistic traditions and norms. Studies have recognized the ability to master the English language, among other stressors, as a major barrier for success, cross-cultural, and academic adaptation. International students' ideas about having low English proficiency was directly related to the lack of confidence during social interactions in the English setting, demonstrating that perceived, rather than actual language ability, is a better predictor or indicator of academic achievement and social self-efficacy. Social networks such as peer group associations and social support systems have been proven to aid ESL learning by providing students with interactive experiences and motivation to master the English language. The ability to form social networks and relationships in the host country has been repeatedly demonstrated to play a positive role in enhancing study abroad experiences of international students, which has been associated with greater language proficiency and overall satisfaction. Utilizing the self-determination theory, which has discussed motivation in relation to the degree to which one's desire for performing an activity is autonomous and self-control as opposed to driven by external pressures. This theoretical framework has proven to be a useful tool to the study of second language learning, whereby the focus has been on differentiating intrinsic and extrinsic motivational orientations. So I will elaborate a little bit more on motivational orientations. So it's been noted that motivational orientations are important factors in predicting both the degree of acculturation as well as the experience of studying a second language. Rubenfeld et al. 2007 discovered that levels of acculturation were greatest for extrinsically motivated students when they were driven by material or external gains, such as a university admissions, while students motivated by intrinsic rewards were most likely to report wanting to learn English for personal interest without any specific means to an end. And lastly, we decided to look at authority beliefs. There's not that much literature out there. However, we did find a 2011 study which was conducted in China, which revealed profound differences between American teachers and Chinese students regarding what they consider to be appropriate student-teacher behavior and how second languages are best learned. For example, Chinese students thought that speaking out in class or correcting a professor was inappropriate classroom behavior. As for our procedure for this current study, we recruited a total of 125 international students who were involved in the ESL and EAP program at a local university in St. Louis, Missouri. Students were asked to complete a survey, which took a total of about 20 minutes. Prior to participation, students were informed about the survey using a cover letter. All the surveys were collected, and the data was entered in SPSS and analyzed. There was a total of 78% males and 32% females. 96.8% of subjects reported China to be their country of origin. The majority of students were business majors. The mean paper 12 score was 513. The mean age was 20 years old, and the mean number of years residing in the U.S. was 2.4. As for the measures, the dependent variable was perceived English fluency. There was 3 independent variables. The first variable was social support networks. Second variable was intrinsic motivation, and the third variable was authority beliefs. We also had control variables. We used gender, paper 12 score, previous English learning experience, and length of U.S. residency. So we also asked demographic variables such as age, gender, number of years in the U.S., number of years studying English prior to the last 12 score. We utilized an English proficiency scale, which is an 8-item scale, which will report a Cronbach alpha of 0.745. Motivational scales, there was 10 items, which was adapted from Noel's 2001, and the Cronbach alpha was 0.763. It asks questions on a motivational subscale, extrinsic motivation, and intrinsic motivation. Social network scale has a reported Cronbach alpha of 0.697. And the authority belief scale, which was created by the research team, was a 7-item scale with a reported Cronbach alpha of 616. Here are the descriptive statistics. The mean for English fluency was 21.01 with a standard deviation of 3.76. And like we mentioned, there are more males than females, males being coded with 1. U.S. residency was about 2.5 years, and social networks 15.24, authority beliefs 7.143, extrinsic motivation was 14.337, and intrinsic motivation was 14.153. Here's a hierarchal regression model. In Model 1, as you can see, there is no statistical significance, with the dependent variable being perceived English competency. And the independent variables in the first model were gender, years in the U.S., and last 12 score. For the second model, you can see it is significant, and the independent variables were gender, years in the U.S., last 12 score, and social networks. For the third model, you can see is also statistically significant. And the independent variables were gender, years in the U.S., last 12 score, social networks, authority beliefs, and extrinsic motivation. So here's the coefficients table, which breaks down all of the variables. So you can see is Model 1, there's no significance. However, in Model 2, there was significance with the social networks variable. Also in Model 3, years of residency is moderately significant, social networks stay significant, and extrinsic motivation is also significant. So in conclusion, diversity in social networks was a significant contributing factor to Chinese international students' perceptions about their English abilities. Having a good mix of American friends and other international friends provides students with more opportunities to speak English rather than only socializing with co-nationals. This also gives students more opportunities to be understood clearly by others, which should increase their confidence in their English speaking abilities. Also, inserting intrinsic and intrinsic motivational orientations into the model predicting English confidence significantly increased the predictive power and explain an additional 8% of variance. Please let us know if you have any questions regarding our presentation. Thank you.